Welcome to the Coffee Hour, a show that involves you in verbal interaction. We have the 2020 feature, sports with Brian Camp, and entertainment news with DJ Pete. So settle in with coffee in hand, and enjoy the Coffee Hour. Now here's your host, Frank Allan.
Well, hi and good morning, TGIF, and here we go. Once again, another Friday morning in New York City. We're coming to you live from New York City as we do each week. The name of the show is called The Coffee Hour. My name is Frank Allan, and every Thursday, well, of course, every Thursday is Talkback Live, but every Friday at this time, we come along and we bring you great conversation. We let you in on great news, and we just have a good time together. A lot of you may be at work at this particular time, depending on your time zone. You could be at work, you could be at lunch, getting ready for lunch, maybe for dinner, maybe getting ready to go to bed. But before you go to bed, stay with us for the next hour and enjoy the coffee hour, because we're going to be here. And of course, we always have a lot of fun here. So take time. Now, whatever time you can spare with us, that would be great. If you can't spend the whole hour, whatever time you can spare would be great. And if you're at work at this particular time, you get what they call that 15-minute coffee break. I don't know, in the offices, they used to do that years ago. I don't know about now, but if you get a 15-minute coffee break, take that 15-minute coffee break and stay at your desk and watch the show. And then when the coffee break is over, you'll still be at your desk. You can do a little multitasking and watching the show at the same time. Thank you so much for being along with us, and we've got a lot to talk about. Later on in the program, we have, as usual, our 2020 feature coming along. Brian Camp with the latest developments in today's world of sports. He's not here today, but we'll cover for him, and that's coming up. Then 20 minutes to the hour, DJ Pete usually comes along with entertainment and news, entertainment, and of course reciting all of those birthdays of people of notoriety. He's not going to be here either, so we're going to cover that for him. So I'm a one-man show today. But I have you. You're here, and if you're around, no matter where you are, you can be, I don't know, on another part of the world, another part of the country somewhere. Remember that we're there wherever you are, because we're worldwide, we're global, and you can listen to us and watch us here. We're here live on YouTube and Instagram. We're also on Facebook as well. However, we're not live on Facebook, okay? Now, if you happen to have missed the past couple of weeks here and you were looking for us maybe and you didn't find us on Facebook Live, well, that's because we weren't live for the past couple of weeks. But I am going to explain all of that. We're going to come back, but I'm going to explain all of that later on in the program for those of you who haven't been around. But that was one of the reasons why this morning I posted the promo, as I do every Friday, to inform everybody that the show will be on at this particular time. And I also put in, as you can see, I put in the website where you can get directly here to YouTube. But thank you guys for being along with us. And those of you who want to chime in, want to be part of the conversation, you can do that. I will see you right there on the big screen. All you have to do is type it right in there and I will see you. I'll entertain your questions, your thoughts, your ideas. And if you have any questions about this show, of course, later on, I'll give you information how you can contact me personally if you don't want to do it today. And if you want to sit there idle and watch the show, that's okay. But as long as you're there, we're here for you right here on the Coffee Hour. So ladies and gentlemen, as I always do, I lift my cups, lift your cups, your glasses, and whatever your beverage is. I hope it's just coffee at this particular time in the morning. Excuse me while I shoot up. One more time. That's delicious. That's nothing like a cup of Joe early in the morning. Well, you know, our weather forecast, which, by the way, if you're going to chime in, give us your weather forecast too, if you're going to come in and say, so we can say that. If you're in New York, don't worry about it. I'll take care of all of that for you. But if you're in another part of the world or a different part of the country, please give us your weather forecast too. We would like to do that. It's not mandatory. It's just something like we like to do. But anyway, here in New York, our weather here is looking good as opposed to yesterday. Now, yesterday was the 17th, and we had the St. Patrick's holiday. And of course, the parade went on without a hitch, no problems. they predicted a lot of rain, and there was rain yesterday, especially early in the morning. It was a lot of rain, but they managed to get that parade off and running, and it worked out pretty good. And it started around 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern in our town here in New York. And at that particular time, the rain had tapered off, which was good news. And the parade proceeded, and then towards the end of the parade, not too far in the rest of the parade, some of it, the rain started to fall, but they were still prepared. Everyone was prepared. They were marching down the street. They had their transparent raincoats. They had the umbrellas, and they're just marching along, and the parade just went as scheduled. Because when you ever put a St. Patrick's Day parade here in New York, which is, by the way, the biggest parade in the world, so people come all around from all over to see it right here in New York. But if they ever start the parade, there's no stopping it. There's no stopping it. And as a matter of fact, any parade that they do in New York City, there's no stopping it. Weather doesn't stop it. That's the way we are in New York. You know, nothing really stops us. But it was St. Patrick's Day, and I hope you had a good one and a pleasant one at that. And we'll see you next week on the parade, on St. Patrick's Day parade. A lot of things are happening, of course, in the news too. I'll give you that weather forecast. But before we do that, I want to let you know that Tracy Braxton, that's the sister of Toni Braxton. She's an R&B singer and the star of WE TV reality show with the Braxtons. All of the Braxton sisters and the family values and sisters of, as I said, Toni Braxton had passed away this past week. Passed away at the age of 50 from cancer. So now they're minus one sister. I would imagine that the show will still continue to go on, but we want to say our condolences out to the Braxton family, the Braxton sisters, Toni herself, and we're sorry to hear about Tracy Braxton's death at the age of 50 years old from cancer. So we send our condolences out to her friends, family, all of her fans who follow her, and big condolences to everyone. We got that weather forecast I was telling you about, right? I gotta find it. I gotta find it. That's what I have to do. I have to find the weather forecast. Let's see if we can do that. It's around somewhere. It's around somewhere. It's around somewhere. We're gonna find it. Let me go here and let's see. I think we might have found it. Of course, I didn't get a chance to pre-read it yet, but we're gonna do the best we can with it. And let's see, there it is. Let me see, let me punch it up there and take a look at it. Yeah, punch it up there and take a good look at it. Did it come up? Yeah, it came up. Okay, we got 53 degrees right now. That's what we have here in New York City. 53 degrees, it's gonna be a warm one. And let's see what we have for the entire weekend. It's sunshine now. It's sunshine out. This is what it says. We've got sunshine out right now, but it says areas of dense morning fog, which we already had. We'll have light rain this morning, breaks of sunshine, which we have right now. More in the afternoon, we'll have a high 71 degrees. Winds will be south-southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance of rain is 60%, so rain still looks possible for today. For tonight, cloudy with occasional light rain, and it will be late tonight. We'll have a low 52 degrees. Winds will be southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance of rain will be 60% once again. For Saturday, tomorrow, it looks like more rain on the way. Rain and scattered thunderstorms in the afternoon. We'll have a high 61 degrees. Winds will be south-southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance of rain even more. 80% chance right there Saturday night. Thunderstorms in the evening will give way to fair skies overnight. We'll have a low 52 degrees. Winds will be west-southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance of rain down to 70%. And as we wrap up our weekend, it looks like Sunday's the better day. Intervals of clouds and sunshine in the morning with more clouds later on in the day. And we'll have a high 52 degrees. It'll be dry and winds will be west at 10 to 15 miles per hour. So there you go. And repeating our current temperature here in New York, we have 53 degrees. And that's my weather forecast for you. And if you have a weather forecast for me, come in and let me know about it, and I will get it on the air. But don't have to worry about a New York weather forecast because we got that. We already had that covered for you. That's already covered. It's already done and raring to go. So that's what it looks like here in New York. I hope wherever you are, your weather looks good. It's going to be good. And if it's not, we're going to do things to entertain you, because later on in the program, we're going to give you that information of all of the movies. There's classic movies from Turner Classic Movies. I have a bunch of them for you. I want to relay to you. So you'll have something to entertain yourselves. I'm pretty sure you're very resourceful, like most people are. They create things for the weekend for themselves. But one of the things I like to do is give you all of the information about the movies that come on, the classic movies. I love those classic movies, and I know you do too. I have all of that information coming up later on in the program. Well, guys, you already know we're already in the midst of Women's History Month, right? You know that, right? Women's History Month. We're in the midst of that. And of course, as you already know, Women's History Month, we celebrate that. We salute all of the great women in our world today, because they came a long way, baby, to get where they have today. And a lot of great things are happening. And if you know any particular woman in your life, or someone personally that you know that's done some great things for your community, or that you want to talk about, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear from you. We'll read it right there and type it up on the big screen, and we'll acknowledge that, because we want to acknowledge all women, the backbone of this country. That's right. I said it. You know, they come a long way, and here we are in the 21st century. But still, we have more work to do. We still have more work to do, because women now are no longer the women that have to stay home and take care of the children, while the men, as they called them back in those days, the breadwinner, go out on the job and work all day 9 to 5, and then come home and expect something to be on the table. See, it doesn't work that way anymore. All right. So things are happening. Women are working. Women are working in these prestigious jobs. They're doctors, lawyers, more other prestigious jobs. They're judges, and they do a lot of good things for the community, and they could be mothers at the same time. And as they always say, a woman's work is never done. Now, they said that back before women were really liberated. A woman's work is never done. It's more so now, because if they choose to work, like a lot of women do, and they do have children young enough to go to school, elementary school, and middle school, high school, and things like that, and they're still taking care of that, and they're still taking care of the family. They're doing things. But this time around, and we hope that the men and the women are teaming up, together, husband and wife teaming up, taking care of the kids and doing the job. All right. But again, it's a wonderful month for them, and we should celebrate them all the time. Because let's think of it this way: if it weren't for women, we wouldn't be here. Is that right? That's absolutely right. If it weren't for women, we wouldn't be here. So we salute all of you women for Women's History Month. And there's more, and you could always go to the museums, and you could always go online to find out the great things women are doing. We have our first female African-American vice president, all right, in office. They never had that before. And who knows, she may turn out to be president. We never seen a woman president, but it's coming, it's on its way. It's on its way, they're moving on up. So we may see our first female president. So you have great women in office and taking care of big things. And it used to be a time when it was just a man's job. No more of that. All right, so congratulations, ladies. And we salute you on this Women's History Month. And while we're here, and by the way, it's 14 minutes past the hour right now. While we're here, we want to talk about the people of Ukraine. Now, there's a war going on, We don't know how long this war is going to go on. They didn't start the fire, as Billy Joel would say in his record. They didn't start the fire, but they have to battle on. And it's, of course, you know, the war between Russia and Ukraine. And of course, Vladimir Putin, who is the head honcho in Russia. I don't know what happened, why he decided that he was going to create bombs, and now he's thinking nuclear war, which is a dangerous thing, which all of us should be concerned about. You know, it's a possible World War III. We don't know. We just cross our fingers and pray that that doesn't happen. But you got to be prepared. The United States has to be prepared. Ukraine has to be prepared. And the thing I want to say and salute the people from Ukraine, I want to first off tell them that, you know, my heart goes out to you. I'm rooting for you. And they continue the fight. Now, Russia must have thought that Ukraine, because they gave Ukraine a warning. We're going to keep bombing you until you surrender. And it looks like that it didn't happen. It looks like it's not going to happen. And I hope it doesn't happen, that they keep on doing, stand up what they believe in, take care of their family and kids. The husbands have sent their wives and their children across the border to make sure that they're safe, going over to Poland and staying with family and other friends and other family members so they be safe. In some cases, the women go there, they take their kids, either they stay there or some come back across the border to Ukraine to be with their husbands again, to fight the fight. So they're doing what they can. My mom used to tell me, and I mentioned this on the show last night on Talk Back Live, she used to tell me, she says, never start a fight, but never run away from one. And that's exactly what Ukraine is doing. They didn't start the fight, but there's a fight going on now, and they're not going to run away. So I don't know what Putin's strategy is going to be at this particular point, what he's going to do. Personally, I think he's running scared. Personally, I think that. I may be wrong about that, but who knows? You know. But what the end is going to be, we don't know what the end is going to be yet. But we're keeping our fingers crossed and praying. And my prayer is going out to Ukraine. All the people, they're brave men and women. The children are just as brave. You know, of course they're scared. Of course, they're all men and women out there. They're all frightened of this. Who wouldn't be in a situation like that? But at the same time, they're still brave enough to stand up for what they believe in. And so, you know, the children, you know, I guess Russia doesn't really care about human life because they're still bombing. They're still doing that. They're bombing places that children dwell. And of course, in Ukrainian language, they had wrote children. So, you know, overhead flying, they wouldn't bomb. And so they could see that there are children there and they should spare the children. But what do? They bomb. And some people, unfortunately, have lost their lives in this situation. So we send our condolences out to them. We don't want any more lives lost in this situation. What are we fighting for anyway? What's a war? It shouldn't even be a war in the vocabulary, but this is what it is. And of course, you have women who are in underground shelters, women who are pregnant, expecting babies in underground shelters, trying to take care of themselves while things are happening over their heads, you know, and I'm pretty sure it's a frightening thing. It's a frightening thing. And it's a place that no one wants to be, and which is why they're trying to escape out of the war zone so they could be safe, their children be safe, and their wives and their husbands, and a lot of them could be safe. People are running out. They're frightened, and you can't blame them. So again, our condolences and our hearts and our prayers go out to Ukraine. My name is Frank Allan. The name of the show is called The Coffee Hour. Excuse me while I shoot up. Now, folks, if you're just joining us, if you're just popping here right now, we would welcome you. We want to welcome you. And just in case maybe you're a first-time viewer of this show, we want to welcome you and encourage you to stay with us. Stay with us, be with us each week. Stay with us each week. We're here every Friday between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m., 1 hour of getting together. And we do this each week. Those of you who are regulars, you know what it's all about. You know the protocol. And those of you who are watching us for the first time, I encourage you to come on YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube channel. The more the merrier. And those of you who are watching us on Instagram, we're both live in these two entities, Instagram and YouTube. Subscribe to us. And this way you can be part of the family. We talked about Facebook. We're not on live, but here's something that's going to happen. After this show is over, those of the people who normally watch us on Facebook and couldn't find us and really don't participate with the YouTube channel. I don't understand. I couldn't imagine why no one ever goes on YouTube. That's a great place to be, to watch videos and live shows as such as this. A lot of good things happen. But those who don't get a chance to do that and stay close to Facebook, and they don't get a chance to go on Instagram and again, stay close to Facebook. Well, we want you to know that this show that's on the air right now, after it's all over on the air right now, we are going to post it. And it's not exactly live, but we're going to post it on Facebook. Since we can't do it live at this particular time, we're going to post it on Facebook so you get a chance to see it. And that'll happen sometime after this show is over. So you just stay on top of that. I promise you that'll happen. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, well, we're overdue. It's 21 minutes past the hour right now. And usually Brian Camp comes in with the latest developments in today's world of sports on Sports Update. He comes from Charlotte, North Carolina. However, he's not here today, but he was nice enough to send us information on the sports news today. So let's get going right now. In the NFL, Tom Brady retirement lasted 40 days. Brady announced that he is returning to the 23rd season of the NFL. Brady says he realized that this place is still on the field and not in the stands. Brady will be 45 come August. And Houston Texan quarterback Deshaun Watson will not face criminal charges following the police investigation sparked by lawsuits filed by 22 women who have accused him of inappropriate behavior and sexual assault. Now, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, who have teamed together for the 20 NFL season in the broadcast booth, have signed multi-year agreements to join the ESPN team as new voices of Monday Night Football. Also in the NBA, Greg Popovich, he became the all-time winningest coach in the NBA with 1,336 victories. Popovich surpassed Don Nelson, who previously held the record for most regular season wins at the San Diego Spurs victory over the visiting Utah Jazz. And Popovich, who was named among the NBA's 15 greatest head coach of all time on February, has won 5 championships and 3 Coach of the Year awards. And he has a record of 23 consecutive winning regular seasons and also had a stake of 22 straight playoff events and appearances. Okay, the NBA fired the Brooklyn Nets $50,000 for letting Kyrie Irving into the locker room during the game, which has been unable to play because he wasn't vaccinated from COVID-19. Yes, he was not vaccinated for COVID-19. Irving was a spectator at the Barclays Center on Sunday's game, sitting across from the Nets bench against the New York Knicks. And there is no mandate at this particular time for fans to be vaccinated to enter the arena, but there's still one requiring it sometimes someone has worked there, unlike stands, locker rooms, and that's still considered part of the team's workplace environment. Okay, going to women's basketball. WNBA, Russia media reports that the detention of a WNBA star, Brittany Griner, was extended until May 19th. The development took place there, and could see a two-time Olympic champion being held for more than 3 months before her case is resolved. Griner was detained in Moscow airport over there at February 17th after Russian authorities said and started a search of her luggage, revealed that vape cartridges that were there allegedly contained oil device from cannabis, which could carry a maximum of penalty of 10 years in prison and the extension of its prosecutor of further investigation. And these delays are standard in Russia, and gear may be held without trial for up to a year to 18 months. Okay, on this day, March 18th, 1942, Black players Jackie Robinson and Nate Moorhead, that's Moreland, I should say, requested a tryout for the Chicago White Sox, and they were allowed to work out there. Back in 1959, Boston Celtics Bill Sherman begins a record of 56 straight free throws. In 1958, the NBA Commissioner Peter Uroth restrains, he reinstated Willie Mays and Mickey Mantle. And back in 1990, 32-day lockout by baseball owners ended, of course, that year. In 1991, Philadelphia 76ers retired Wilt Chamberlain's number 13 jersey. In 1995, Michael Jordan announces he is ending his 17-month NBA retirement. And finally, 2014, Phil Jackson signs a 5-year contract to be president of New York Knicks. And that's this day in sports. We want to thank Brian Camp for furnishing that information to us. He couldn't be here today. We're looking forward to seeing him back here next week, hopefully. He definitely will be with us doing sports on our show on Thursday night, Talk Back Live. So thank you, Brian, for that. And we've got a lot. And if you're just joining us again, here we are once again. The name of the show is called The Coffee Hour. And of course, I keep repeating it because a lot of people just come in now and then. People sit idle. People don't want to talk about repeat. My name is Frank Allan. And we just mostly along because we have so many things to talk about and so many things to do. Wonderful things to say, marvelous things to do. Okay, here we are. And getting to more information that we have for you. We talked about movies. We're going to talk about that later on. All that's coming up. And as we wrap up our first part of the 2020 feature, which Brian Camp, we did that. There's another part of the 2020 feature that's coming up, 22 the hour, and DJ Pete. DJ Pete will not be here today, but he was kind enough to leave us information too for his segment, and that's all coming up. That's 22 the hour, that's minutes from now, and it's right here on Talkback Live. You know, we talked about Women's History Month. We talked about that earlier, right? We talked about that earlier. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing. And I want to salute a young lady. And I said, yeah, she's a baby. She's only 11 years old. But this is what women's history is all about. And she's only 11 years old. Let me tell you a story about her. I discovered that this young lady at 11 years old in the 6th grade, growing up in Brooklyn, New York. She's still living in Brooklyn, New York. Maybe that's why I'm a little partial to her. She's a Brooklyn girl. She lives in the Bushwick section of Brooklyn, New York with her siblings and her parents. And I discovered her. And I went on her, she has a show. She has a show on YouTube, just so as we. You know, she has a show on YouTube, and you ought to see her. And her name is Jaslyn Jazz Guerrera. Jaslyn Jazz Guerrera, but we just call her Jazzy. And she has a a YouTube channel, and you can go there. Please do that, but do it after the show. Go there. I think it's marvelous. It's called Jazzy's World TV, right there on YouTube. And let me tell you something. She wants to grow up to be a talk show host. She wants to host her own talk show. And let me tell you something about that. I was like blown away by her. She has such a sparkling personality. She has such a zest for what she wants to do here. And she has interviewed prominent people. I mean, you got to go there because all of her videos are there. You could watch them. She was interviewed. She did interviewed, and they are short interviews. Of course, they're not like long, lengthy interviews, but as short as they can get them. She had an interview with Denzel Washington. She had an interview with Ric Flair, the former wrestler of the WWF, or I should say WWE. She interviewed people like Alicia Keys. But by the way, Alicia Keys was very impressed with her. You have to see that interview. Alicia Keys, 50 Cent, so many people that I haven't even spoken to. People probably I never even met, you know. But I was really impressed by this little girl. She has so much fire in her. She's very outgoing, and the people that she interviews, they love her. I never met her, and I love her. And I wish her really the best if she's going to pursue this career. I really wish her the best. Now, she has a long way to go in life. Who knows? You could think about things later on and say, well, you know, maybe that's a good thing to do, but I think I want to try this, but I could always go back to that. You know, you have options as a kid. You think about it. I remember when I was a kid, at the age of 5 years old, I knew I wanted to be a radio disc jockey. I knew it at 5 years old. So here she is at 11 years old, wanting her talk show, and she will probably wind up doing it, you know, and because dreams can come true and you can make them come true. So I have an advice. If I were able to talk to her, I wish I could. I wish I could talk to her. If I were able to talk to her right now, and maybe she's watching this, and I said all of this last night on Talkback Live. I mentioned all of this last night on Talkback Live. If I were able to talk to her, I would give her some advice if she wants to be in this business. Now, this is a business where it's not an easy venture. And I hope her, you know, if she's listening, and if her father is listening as well, her parents are listening, you know, I want them to hear this. The thing that I have, the advice that I would give her is, please, you know, go do it, go for it. You got the drive, go for it, do it. And she's doing it. But what I would say, to get into this business, you have to have a lot. Don't do it like halfway. You know, put like 200% into it if you're going to do it. Now, some people, like, they pursue a career, and what they want to do, they want to say, okay, you know, I got this, you know, this is good enough. Nothing is good enough, because even when you're good enough, and even when you're excellent at it, you want to even be better than that, right? So my suggestion to her is to do it with drive. You know, don't try to make the top dollar just yet, because it's not going to come. Besides, she's too young for that anyway. And her mother and her father, I'm pretty sure, are behind her, and they're going to take charge. They have to take charge because she's under 21. Until she's 21, then she can make her own final decisions on what she want to do as time goes on. I would also say to her that in this business, as she gets older and wiser and more developed in her voice and her presentation of what she's doing, she's going to run into people, and this is the God's honest truth. She's going to run into people who's going to tell her, no, you can't do this. You'll never make it. That'll never happen. You know, you're not good enough. You got to prove them wrong. You prove them wrong. Because when someone tells me, when I was young and I wanted to do something, and someone told me it's impossible, you can't do it, it can't be done, you're not the right kind of person for it, you know, you can't do it, it just motivates me more to say, I'm going to show you I can do this. and you can do this. So I just want to tell her is that she's going to, in her lifetime, as she gets older, she's going to run into people like that who are probably jealous in the first place. They're going to tell her, no, you're not good enough for it. You'll never make it, but you will make it. I'm here to tell her. I'm here to tell her because I see a lot in her. I see a lot in her, and I'm here to tell her that she will make it. If this is what she wants to do, she is going to make it. She is going to be the tops. She is going to be the kind of person that makes people proud, makes her parents proud. She's going to make me proud because she's from Brooklyn, you see? And I'm here to tell her that she will make it. Also, here's the other thing, is to stay grounded at all times. Stay grounded. Don't become a diva. Don't become a star. Do what you're doing now. Because your outgoing personality, people judge you by your personality, right? Because basically in this business, it's not who you know, it's not what you know, it's who you know. It's been like that forever. And you're going to need help along the way. People are going to have to help you along the way. You're going to have to knock on doors. People will slam doors in your face. And what you have to do in return is kick in the windows, knock down the doors. You're going to have to do that. It takes a lot to do. It's a lot of things. People are going to reject you. You may be rejected 10, 20, 30 times, 40 times. You may be rejected for a long time, but you got to keep punching. You got to keep fighting and say, no, this is what I am. You need me. You tell people, you need me for this. I am your choice. You need me, you know. And I believe she can do that because looking at her sparkling personality, I mean, she's like in your face. You know, she's nothing shy about her. She's always well prepared in her interviews. I can see she takes notes and everything. She has her notes in it. She holds up a cell phone. She reads her notes while she's talking to people, questions that she wants to ask. She's totally prepared. And I am impressed. And I'm not so much impressed. It takes a lot to impress me. It really does. But I see the things that I see her do, I usually recommend for people to do. And I usually tell people, hey, you know, you're going out on an interview, you know, make sure that you're prepared. Make sure you know the person, because let me tell you something, people that you interview, like over my years, I've done a lot of interviews. Believe it or not, when you tell a person that you're interviewing about themselves, because of course you're researching them, and you take that on your interview and you tell, they love that. They love that you do your homework. They love that you know about them. They love it. They love it. And another thing too, when you interview people, you may be nervous, but she doesn't look nervous. She may be, I don't know, but she doesn't look nervous at all. I'll tell you something else. The people, if you are a nervous person going out before doing these interviews, and you can be, keep in mind that the people that you're interviewing are just as nervous as you are, but they're never going to let you see them sweat, and you're not going to let them see you sweat. But you see, what I see in her, that sparkling personality, when she does an interview, she will relax the person that she's interviewing. That's one of the important tricks about doing interviews. You know that the person that you're going to interview, they're going to be a little bit nervous, and you have to relax them with your personality. And when you spark that personality, you spew that personality, it touches them, they feel it, it's a jolt, and they come out of their shell. And so please keep that in mind. This is a very tough industry to crack, but I know that she can do it. And here's another thing. Like I said, I never met her, never spoke to her, but here's something. If she's watching, if her parents are watching right now, or maybe they're not watching live, or maybe they'll watch it later, maybe they'll accidentally see this interview or this show right now at another time, because it will be on YouTube. It will be posted on YouTube, and of course you'll see it here on Facebook, as they call it, the rerun show. I just want her to know that even though I don't know who she is, but if there's any advice I can give you, and I never really do this, but if there's any advice that I can give you, you contact me. If you have any questions about what I do, or about this business, because I know this business from the back of my hand. I've been doing it for a lot of years. But if you have any questions, feel free. I'm open to you. I just want this young lady to know that I am open to her because I want to see her grow. When I see a young person that age are so enthusiastic and do everything with flair, that really impressed me. And I'm really impressed with this young lady. And she's from Brooklyn. So I just wanted to know that if this information gets back to her, if this show gets back to her, I just want her to know, or if any of her friends see this and they'll say, hey, this guy, Frank Allan, he was talking about you on his show. I know you don't know him, but he said that if you have any questions or you need any help, he's open. I am open. And we're going to leave it like that. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are in the coffee hour. And my name is Frank Allan. So excuse me while I shoot up. Boy, I remember when I was young and out there and about and trying to get things going with my career. I did the same thing. I was just like that. And she reminds me of me when I was young. And people slammed doors in my face. And people told me I couldn't do this, couldn't do that. I had program directors when they told me, he says, well, you know, you sound okay, but maybe you're not good enough for the station because you don't have the sound. Maybe you should go to the other station across the way where they look for that sound. And I said, okay. And I did that. And I came back and I just kept going. I kept knocking down doors. So I encourage her to do the same thing. Okay, DJ Pete. All right, it's 41 minutes to the it's 10:40. It's 41 minutes to the hour. 41 minutes past the hour, I should say. So we're talking about it's time for DJ Pete to be here. Now DJ Pete is not here today. DJ Pete is not here today. So DJ Pete, he left us his information today on people of notoriety. And this is what we have today. Now, the 13th had passed, the 13th of March passed already. So Neil Sedaka celebrates a birthday on the 30th. He was born in 1939, March 13th, 1939. And of course, you all already know Neil Sedaka. Neil Sedaka was another guy that I'm very partial to. He's from Brooklyn, New York. He lived, didn't live too far from each other back in those days. I remember Neil Sedaka came out of Brighton Beach in Brooklyn, New York. And he's celebrating his birthday today. He did those big hits. All of those big hits, Calendar Girl, and I love my calendar girl. Yeah, and he did all of those big hits back in the heyday. And of course, Neil Sedaka is an American pop singer, pianist. He's a composer as well, songwriter, and of course, a record producer. So he's done his time in this industry since the music career began in 1957. That's where he began, is 1957, and all of those great hits. And it's always great to have him aboard and listen to his music. I played his music a lot when I was a DJ. Played his music a lot. And let's see who else we have. Les Brown. Les Brown was born on the 14th of March in 1912. Les Brown, of course, another musician, a band leader. And Les Brown passed away January 4th, 2001 at the age of 88 years old. Okay, and he was an American jazz musician who led the big bands, Les Brown and his band of renown. And if you go to swing, if you like swing music, well, that's your man right there. That's your man. He was in the swing era of that time when he did that. Great music, Les Brown. Lightning Hopkins. Okay, now this may not be a household name to you. You may not know who he is, but he was born March 15th, 1912. And I have a little history about him in case you don't know who he was. By the way, he passed away January 30th in 1982 at the age of 69 years old. And He was an American country blues singer, songwriter, guitarist, and occasionally pianist. He was from Centerville, Texas. And of course, in 1920, the Rolling Stone magazine ranked him number 71. Ranked him number 71 on its list of 100 greatest guitarists of all time. That was very nice. And his real name was Samuel John Lightning Hopkins. Samuel John Hopkins. Lightning Hopkins. And there's some history for you. Enjoyed that, of course. Okay, coming up next, Dominic Joseph Fontana. Dominic Joseph Montana. DJ Pete got to meet him. But let me tell you who he is. His name is DJ Fontana. So the Dominic Joseph, of course, the stage name is DJ Fontana. And he was born March 15, 1931. He passed away June 13th, 2018 at the age of 87 years old. And of course, he was an American best known for his drumming. He drummed with Elvis Presley for 14 years. In 1955, he was hired to play drums for Elvis Presley, which marked him the beginning of his 15-year career, or his 15-year relationship with Elvis Presley. And he played on over 460 RCA cuts for Elvis Presley. So he knew Elvis Presley pretty well. And I guess once you're in Elvis Presley stable, and if you're good, you stay there. Okay, and speaking of the king, this is the real king, Nat King. Nat King Cole was born March 17, 1919. We all know Nat King Cole for Mona Lisa and Straighten Up and Fly Right and all of those classic songs that he did. He passed away back in 1965, February 15th, 1965. He was only 45 years old. Nathaniel Adams King, Nat King Cole, known for professionally as Nat King Cole, as you already know, was an American singer, jazz pianist, and actor, of course. And he recorded over 100 songs that became hits on the top charts. Mona Lisa, Mona Lisa. There's a story about Nat King Cole. And since we're talking about Nat King Cole, this is my own personal input about Nat King Cole. Now, of course, Nat King Cole came up in an era where even most of the African Americans who were entertainers had to go through the back door in the hotel or wherever they were performing, had to come through the back door instead of going up to the regular elevators with regular people. He had to come up in the freight elevator, go through the kitchen to get into the hotel. He was allowed, they were always allowed to perform at these places, but never allowed to stay at the hotel. And the Sands Hotel was one of them, you know. But all of that's changed, of course, over the years. The story of Nat King Cole is something that Sinatra once said to Nat King Cole, because Nat King Cole had a phenomenal voice. And one of the things that Sinatra told Nat King Cole, he says, if you were white, you would have succeeded me. He told Nat King Cole that. If you were white, you would have succeeded me. But he was great. He was a great man. And I you know something, I concur with that. I concur with that. Even though Sinatra, you can't whip him. You can't whip him with a stick. Couldn't whip him with a stick. All of those great people, Nat King Cole, Sinatra, you couldn't beat them. You couldn't whip them. Nat King Cole, Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., Tony Bennett, Dean Martin, all of those guys, they sang the music, as they call it, the American songbook. And so Nat King Cole, we salute you. Happy birthday. We used to call him the Wicked Wilson Pickett. Wilson Pickett, of course, celebrates a birthday today. Today is his birthday. So happy birthday, Wilson Pickett. Or it was say 18th, 2006. Is it 18? Wait, we're gonna find out for sure. It may be a typo, so we're gonna open up this situation. Okay, Wilson Pickett was born in 1941. Let me put it that way. Today is his birthday, 1941. And he passed away 2006, January 19, 2006, at the age of 64 years old. Wilson Pickett. He was big on soul. He did all of those great songs like Engine Number 9, Don't Let the Green Grass Fool You, and In the Midnight Hour, so many countless on Atlantic Records. He played for Atlantic Records, and he was the American singer of song and the major figure and development of American soul music. Wilson Pickett, Wicked Wilson Pickett. He used to play his records all the time too when I was a soul, as they used to say back in those days, the soul disc jockey, the soul disc jockey. And here's one for you guys. If you're in my age bracket, we remember Clarence Frogman Henry. Clarence Frogman Henry, he did that big hit, I Don't Know Why I Love You, But I Do. He's still alive today. His birthday would be tomorrow, March 19th, 1937, he was born. He would be 85 tomorrow. And of course, he did I Don't Know Why I Love You, But I Do. And then there was another song that he did called Ain't Got No Home, which, by the way, that song was featured in that movie Casino with Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro. All of that, it was featured in that song. But he was a big hit back in the early 60s. Back in 61, we had all of those great hits. And it's Clarence Frogman Henry. Jerry Lewis, okay, one of the comedians of his time, was born on the 16th of March, 1926. And of course, I can tell you he was originally teamed up with Dean Martin. They were a team back in the big heyday of their careers. And then they split up and they went their separate ways, had their own careers together. It was questioned that at one time when they broke up, that Dean Martin probably would not have made it as big as he is because of Jerry Lewis, but it didn't turn out to be that way. They both excelled in their careers and they did a good job. And then later on, years later, 20 years later, Sinatra united them. You remember that? There's a video there, you can check it out. And when Jerry Lewis was doing the multiple dystrophy program, I think that's what it was, multiple dystrophy. I think that was the show. They used to do it years and years. They canceled it out. Obviously, Jerry Lewis is now deceased, but he used to do that. And Sinatra was on that show and did a surprise bonding with the guys. That was something else to see. Jerry Lewis. Robin Williams, comedian Robin Williams, born in 1947 on March 16th. Of course, Robin Williams. We discovered him. He had a spot on Happy Days, and then he had a takeoff. He took his show off and went to Mork and Mindy and did other dramas and comedy shows. He was born July 21st, 1951. That's what it says here. And then 49 is the other one. I think it's 1951, though. I think that's when he was born. Okay. And he passed away August 11th, 2014 at the age of 63. He died really young. Robin Williams, comedian Robin Williams. Nano. And Casey Jones, the engineer Casey Jones, remember going way back, 1863, Casey Jones was an engineer, a train engineer. He died in a wreck, in a train wreck, but Casey Jones, don't know too much about him, but I knew that there was a show called Casey Jones with Allan Hale Jr. He was the engineer, Casey Jones, steaming and a rolling, Casey Jones there. And finally, we have Jimmy Carvello. Jimmy Carvello, he was big back in the 1950s. He was born March 14th in the year 1927. He was born then. And he was on one of Alan Freed's movies, and he did that theme song called Rock, Rock, Rock. He died on December 2nd, 2019 at the age of 92 years old. Jimmy Carvello did that song, Rock, 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 on Alan Freed's movie called Rock, Rock, Rock. And thank you, DJ Pete, for that information. We thank you so much for that. DJ Pete, of course, giving us the information on celebrities of the day. I say people of notoriety, but all of their birthdays and reciting all of those birthdays. Thank you, DJ Pete. We hope to have DJ Pete back pretty soon. So that ends this part of the 2020 feature. And of course, if you want to listen to DJ Pete, he has a radio program. DJ Pete, you can check him out on www.radio-airwave.co.uk. And he's on Mondays between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. And also you can catch him on his hometown station, WMPG in Portland, Maine. And he's there. And if you can't pick up the station itself, you can always go on the website, because they do have a website that contains the radio station, www.wmpg.org, and you can check him out every other Tuesday between 8:30 p.m. and 10 p.m. at all times Eastern time zone in the UK and in the USA and Canada too. Check it out, DJ Pete. Hope to see you. Thank you, DJ Pete. I hope to catch you back here next week. Okay, and of course our movies, we talk about those. We have those movies coming out, those movies that you like so much. Okay, and we want to get those out of the way, the great movies. And we're going to start off right now quickly. Shaft, that's coming on this weekend on Turner Classic Movies. That's back in 1971 with Richard Roundtree. And that's on Saturday. That's tomorrow at 4:30 a.m. That's 4:30 a.m. Saturday morning. So that would be Friday into Saturday. And if you're not up that early or you don't want to stay up that late, whatever, you can DVR it prior and then watch it at another date. That's Shaft, 1971. Everybody remembers that. Lily of the Fields with Sidney Poitier back in 1963. Here it is. It comes on again on Turner Classic Movies, one of the staples there. That's Saturday at 12 p.m. That's 12 noon Eastern. There's a classic movie, Jezebel, by Betty Davis and Henry Fonda, also on Turner Classic Movies back in 1938. You can check that Sunday at 8 a.m. if you're not up that early or you're going to church or something like that. You're getting prepared for that. Of course, DVR it, watch it at another time. Also, you have I Want to Live. Here's a classic that I love so much. It's a true story. It was done in 1958. The star was Susan Hayward. And that comes on Turner Classic Movies Sunday at 11:45 a.m. And you also have Mildred Pierce back in 1945 with Joan Crawford. And that's Turner Classic Movies. And there you go, that's Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And finally, here's something that's not a classic, but it goes back to 1996. And if you like boxing, you're going to like this documentary. It's called When We Were Kings. And that's the Oscar-winning chronicles for the 1974 championship bout between Muhammad Ali and George Foreman, and that's on Turner Classic Movies. You can check that out this Sunday at 10:15 p.m. right here on Turner Classic Movies, right there on Turner Classic Movies. So they're all there for you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before we go, I wanted to explain to you, and I mentioned it at the top of the hour, that I was going to explain to you that, you know, we're not on Facebook. We're not on Facebook. Not broadcasting for a while. We've got 43 more days now. Facebook had put us in what they call Facebook jail. Facebook jail, right? And of course, you already know what that's all about. So what happened is that it had to do with a post that was posted 2 years prior. 2 years, it took 2 years to discover this. It took 2 years for these geniuses to discover this. And then they decided that, you know, it's not good for our community. We don't promote that kind of thing. And it was nothing but a photo, a fun photo that it wasn't one of those photos that was racist or anything like that. It was nothing like that or anything that would offend anyone. It was just a simple, playful poster. And they discovered it 2 years later and they canceled us. And now we're off the air with YouTube initially it was 59 days, but we used up the days. We're down to 43 days now. Be back in 43 days. So I'm looking for the whole month. We're off for the whole month of next month. And then the first week of May, we should be back on the air with that. So that's the story. If you were looking for us and you couldn't find us, that's where we were, here. So I directed you here so you can watch it live, or you could watch it as my people there watching us on Instagram. And that's where it's going to be for a while. So we'll post this show on YouTube and on Facebook after it's all over. that's going to be all over for me for today. I thank you for being with us. I want to thank Brian Camp and DJ Pete for sending the information in. We'll be back here next week for next Thursday for Talk Back Live, and we'll be here with Brian Camp. He'll be here live with the latest developments in today's world of sports on Sports Update. We'll have conversation. That's Thursday between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. I hope that you'll be there to watch us. Other than that, I will be back here next week. We'll have, hopefully, Brian Camp and DJ Pete will be here for the 2020 feature. Brian with sports, DJ Pete, of course, with entertainment news. And we'll have a lot of fun right here on the Coffee Hour that next Friday at 10 a.m. In the meantime, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, a wonderful day, and I will see you back here. Take care of yourself. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.
You've been watching the Coffee Hour with Frank Allan. The producer has been Al Dale. Technical assistance, Dave Taylor. Research by Sandy Pierce. And I'm your announcer, Donna Stenke. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on the Coffee Hour.